This is Brian, the second grade student I had the privilege of working with this summer. Brian is very competitive. He is definitely a go-getter, and he's very confident when he gives answers in math and just how he carries himself. Brian understands math concepts and was able to come up with his own unique way of problem solving each skill that was kind of tailored to himself. Um, Brian met three of the four learning indicators, and I found that Brian was very strong in the math area. You could tell that he enjoyed it, and that kind of boosted his confidence in doing these math activities. Brian follows directions very well, um, and he's very competitive, and he took constructive criticism very well when I reminded him that we don't need to make everything about winning or losing. He came right back down to earth and was very understanding with being okay not winning or if he wasn't first. Is the student able to fluently add basic facts, including combinations of 10? Brian met this learning indicator. Um, he is very deliberate in his counting and how he does it. Many times he would hit his finger on the table, making a noise so that he knew when to count that finger, and that's just how he counted. Um, Brian also used the strategy of make it 10. He primarily would use this if his rolls consisted of a number that was 8 or 9, kind of any of those higher numbers. For example, one time he rolled a 4 and a 9. He instantly said 10 plus 4 equals 14. And then he said, I need to minus 1 that I added, so the answer is 13. And he was very confident when he gave that answer. He knew he figured it out the right way, and he was very proud of himself. Is the student able to work with equal groups of objects to communicate an understanding of multiplication? Brian was able to draw the correct circles and stars very quickly, and he was able to count them quick and give his answer with confidence and speed. Also, when Brian was playing this game, if the number was 2, he would draw 2 circles, and when he rolled that second number, he would shout out the answer without drawing those stars. He was confident in those basic lower math facts that he knew them right away. This often worked if the first number was 2 or 3 and also 1. Any of those lower numbers, he was able to figure those out right away. Can the student add and subtract within 20? And does the student know how to find 10 more or 10 less than a number without counting? Brian was able to meet this learning indicator as well. He could successfully figure out those answers when he was on a different number, but sometimes he would need a piece of scratch paper. He was very confident in asking for the scratch paper, and when he figured out the answer, he was proud of himself for taking that time to figure it out, and he was able to get the correct answer. Brian was also able to figure the answer, even if the number was other than a multiple of 10. He could do this without scratch paper, but as long as the numbers were 30 or less than 30. A few recommendations I would have with working with Brian would be playing store. I would have the money be limited to only using dimes or a $10 bill. I would have Brian be the store cashier and I would be the customer. I would purchase items such as something that was $2 and $4. Brian would have to add the number 2 and 4 to get that I would need to pay $6. When I gave him a $10 bill, he would then have to turn that into a subtraction fact to figure out what change I would need. So he would be able to figure out 10 minus 6 equals 4. So I should get $4 in change. Another thing I would suggest working on Brian with is flashcards and just memorizing those basic math facts. just being repetitious and figuring these math facts out and getting just that basic understanding of them, I feel like will help in his quickness when doing his math. And also, it would help him be accurate because he definitely wants to be accurate and have the right answer. So I feel like just memorizing and working repetitiously with those flashcards will help him in being quick and accurate. And also just practice, practice, practice with him. Um, I learned by working with Brian that each child has their own individual way of problem solving. And we need to boost their confidence in that. Um, and it may not be how we teach it, but that's how they learn it, and that's how what's easiest for them. Um, I learned that working with two students of different age levels, that sometimes competitiveness can drive kids' learning, and sometimes it can hinder children. Um, as far as what I learned about being a future teacher of math, is that I will provide each student with the adequate time that they need to figure out a problem. I want them to kind of create their own way of problem solving and figuring out how to solve that problem. I will offer my assistance, but I want them to have that initial time to figure out the problem.